Alright, let's set the mood. Turn it down a bit. Hey everyone, it's the actually wait, that is really loud. Okay. Hey everyone, it's the Marker, and welcome to another video. Today is no Meta Runner is not back. It hasn't even been a week since the season finale came out. But I did mention in it that I was going to do a video going over some of the stuff we know. Now this isn't going to be the greatest video because I don't know how to edit, and also I'm on a phone, and just the fact that I have no experience with this is the first time I've ever done anything like this, but I'm doing it in the most basic way possible. Yeah, I've compiled a list of a whole bunch of stuff we know about different characters, specifically different characters and stuff like that. I've even gotten a few mini-series. So first off, we're going to start off with the girl herself, the main star, Tari. The shy, duck-loving, game-warping cyborg. I swear, she's some kind of cyborg or something. Actually, you're you technically count as a cyborg if at least one of your body parts is like. Well, I don't think she's a cyborg, like a total robot human, like just a human with a robotic part, which would be her arm. Now you might be wondering, why do I think that she is completely human? Like, she is absolutely human. I will get into that. But first, let's go over a bunch of stuff. Just talking about her herself. So we know that in the first episode, she had woken up in an alley with amnesia. I mean, she has no idea. No, where exactly she was, why she was there. Actually, no, she didn't wake up in a house. She woke up in a lab. I wrote that down for whatever reason. Well, it was some weird, room or something. I don't really know, but there was a lot of, experimenting equipment and whatnot. Most likely to test her abilities or something like that. Or frequency, or something like that, I don't know. Some really technological stuff that I, myself, would not know whatsoever. But yeah, she stumbled into an alleyway, I believe. And we also know that which also leads off of that, is that she has flashbacks. Only, they're not random. They are absolutely not random. It seemed random from the first few flashbacks that we saw. But then in episode 3, when her and Theo were trying to escape from Lux, Bell, and the Task Corp employee, whatever, those weird guys in the masks were, when her and Theo were in that streaming room, she had noticed the coffee cup on the floor and started having flashbacks again. So she has flashbacks to Dr. Sheridan all day. One also thing that's pretty interesting is that one of the flashbacks she has is of the whole incident. Where Dr. Sheridan and Lucinia, I know as I had been calling her Lucidia instead of Lucinia. Sorry if that triggered you at all, but yeah, where they presumably died, which is very interesting. Mean that she was there, but like not actually her. Once again, I'll get into that. So it's one also thing it seemed was that lab or whatever that she had woke up in the first episode was outside of the task court building. So it's just like, how did she get there? That I don't know if it was actually like out of task court or if that building that lab or whatever was in and the task court building are linked or have some entryway to each other, like underground or something like that. I don't know. But if they're not connected, then that's pretty interesting, and that's going to be something having to do with Dr. Sheridan. We also know that thanks to whatever ability she has, that's actually something that has been confirmed what it is. I'll get into that. She can go from a beginner level to pro level in just a matter of seconds. But it's not like, really crazy. Like she doesn't learn as fast with like really advanced stuff or against other people, because it took her a while to perform the glitch, and it took her a bit to get used to the shooter game and playing against Masa. But she was able to become an expert at Ultra Jump Mania in a matter of seconds, as we saw at the end of the first episode as well. She was struggling a lot to actually play the game, but then she started pulling off crazy tricks and all that a few seconds after Belle criticized her on being like a noob or whatever. We also know that obviously she's linked to Project Blue just of the logo. See, right there, the logo, that's the same logo. The logo on her arm is the same one for Project Blue. One thing that's also really interesting that I realized from watching the fourth episode where we were introduced to Lamar, when she took the controls from Lamar and did that crazy jump over the barrier, she had used her Meta Runner vision to like her like special ability to to plan it out. No, meaning it doesn't just work inside of games. It works both in the game world and the real world, which is something interesting that I realized. And going back to the flashbacks thing, and one of them being, the assumed demise of Lucinia and Dr. Sheridan. Like, it's really interesting that she would see that. So, and the fact that she has amnesia leads me to believe that at some point she knows, she has a memory of what happened. She just can't remember the full bit, the whole thing. like the entire story of what happened at that moment. So possibly eventually she's going to be able to remember what happened and see exactly why did that explosion happen, what happened to Lucinia. Well, no. And what happened to Dr. Sheridan. But that's just a little theory I had. And now we move on to Belle, Tari's rival, and whatnot. And starting off, we don't really have that much not much like really important stuff. Like we know she's a gaming idol. We see her around this. We there were like a lot of, well, not a lot, but there were some like pictures or whatever of her around the city. At least what we saw of it in the first episode when Tari was walking around, trying to figure out where she was. We also know that she is a speedrunner. She is a well-known speedrunner from the fact that this actually is another thing. No, she was trying to reclaim the world record speedrun for Ultra Jump Mania. There's more on that whole speedrunning thing, but then we have the whole thing of her being a good friend of Lucinia, and that she blames Tari for Lucinia's death because the whole Project Blue thing, Tari is linked to it. And obviously eventually Belle's gonna learn better and realize that it's not Tari's fault. But I don't think that's gonna be for a while. In fact, it actually might happen in season 2. But more like late season 2. Probably that'd probably be when we find out what actually happened to Lucinia and Dr. Sheridan. Unfortunately, that's all we really have for Belle. I haven't made a section for MD5, like the entire group itself, but we don't know. But we really don't know. We know individual things about, Belle and Masa. We don't really know about. Wait, did I say Belle? We know stuff about like Sophia and Masa. We don't really know anything about Mars though, other than the fact that he is a fan of body pillows. He is a weeaboo ish. I don't know, man. I don't know. So what, you don't have anything about MD5 as a whole, like how it started and whatnot. Really, I mean, we know a little bit, but that's more directly into Masa's whole thing, which we're eventually gonna get to. And now we got one of the most important characters other than Tari. And Tari and Belle are two very important characters, but Lucinia might be even more important than Belle, but definitely not more important than Tari, since I'm pretty sure she holds the answer to the entire lore of the show. So we obviously already know that she seemingly died in an explosion with Dr. Sheridan. One thing which ties into episodes 9 and 10, or actually no, not 9 and 10, 8 and 10, where Tari is entering the game and leaving the game, there's a brief moment where she is in this weird place, and she sees Lucidia, which is really, really interesting, considering, the game was linked to Task Corp servers. But I highly doubt that Lucidia is linked to the game, like that Battle Royale game or whatever itself. So possibly whatever happened could have somehow transported her or something or whatever into Task Corp's network, like its servers and all that. Like just a small thought. We also know that she disappeared the night in between the flashback Belle had when she was training, like the flashback of her trying to train for her speedrunning thing. We know that in between the beginning of episode 1 and that flashback, we know that's when she disappeared. Because Belle in that flashback said tomorrow was the day she would be doing the speedrun. And in episode 1, we see her doing that very speedrun. Now, unless it was a whole different speedrun, like a completely different speedrun they were talking about, a completely different speedrun attempt, then, but as far as we know, she was talking about the speedrun she was doing in episode 1, meaning in between that flashback and episode 1, that flashback took place the night before. The night of the day before the day episode 1 takes place. Considering my whole thing of it being that exact speedrun doesn't get debunked. Or, I don't know if I'm wording this, but I didn't write an actual script, I just put a list of the information we know. But in between the flashback in episode 1, that's where Lucidia disappeared. That's where things went down. And one thing that really intrigued me when we saw her in episode 10 was that her arm was completely gone. Like her mirror arm was just off. It looked kind of like Masa, like when Masa had his arm shot off by Lux. So did Lux do something to her as well, which would tie into Masa sinking? Like Masa thinking that Lux was the one who caused Lucidia's death, assuming that she is dead, though I think she is definitely still alive to some extent. Like, was she decommissioned beforehand or something? Like, did Lux take her arm off of her body? Did he find? Oh God, this got dark fast. Well, obviously, was her body? I don't know. That theory is very. I wouldn't be surprised if that theory was already debunked. Really, I don't really believe in that theory being my own theory. So I don't know. No, at least I think I can finish at least most of this. I don't want to have to make a second video. Okay. So next we got Lux. The really evil businessman who I really don't like now. Just because Like, seriously, poor Theo. Oh, God. But anyways, we know that he's also really cold-hearted. Like, I guarantee he has no hesitation. He would have no hesitation to try and... He has no regret in decommissioning someone. Like, I swear, Belle was so close so many times. And that's only the times we've seen. Who knows how many other times she was close to being decommissioned. Like, he threatened her in the very first episode, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm surprised that that Masa's arm was the one to be shot instead of hers, because I would have thought he would have been furious. Like, absolutely livid at her for going against his order in episode 9. Not to mention Tari got away. It was able to successfully pull off the glitch. I mean, things worked out in his favor in the end, but still. We know that he is possibly the cause of Lucinia and Dr. Sheridan's deaths, at least according to Masa. One thing that doesn't really tie into a few bits of... doesn't tie into this whole big thing, but it's definitely something to keep note of, is that he has possible, like, control to some extent of the police force in the city. Because in episode 3, when him and Belle were in the car chasing after Tari, Lamar, and Theo, the cops were grabbed them, and so he contacted the police chief and told him to hold off and that to hold off his hold off, stand down. Yeah, so like Lux, he has at least some power to some extent over, like, the government system, it seems, which is definitely absolutely important to keep in mind for the future. I also put a section for, like, Task Corp as a company itself. But there's not really anything. Keep in mind, this was made by me. So I most definitely missed some stuff because I'm stupid. I most definitely missed some stuff. I highly doubt I have most of the information I have down on obviously, like, the most important parts, at least in my opinion. This is most likely not everything. Like, one of the only things that I myself I noticed is that in the very first episode, we learned that Task Corp, to some people, isn't exactly the greatest company. Everybody was crowding around Tari the first episode, ask her questions, and then someone asked which company she's a part of. And when she says Task Corp, everybody was just silent, just stick back in shock or something, or like fear. So Task Corp obviously doesn't have a very good reputation in some people's eyes. We learned that from the very beginning. And then we got Project Blue itself. The whole project most definitely created by Dr. Sheridan. And by far, Project Blue, it has to be the most interesting thing so far. I only have 2 points for it. Two very important points for it, but they're two very big things, which ties in to the whole thing of like me not thinking Tari's like a robot cyborg. Like the only robotic part of her is her Meteorite arm, which is, well, not just the Meteorite arm, but like the main thing is the Meteorite arm, because Project Blue is an AI program that was designed to be any video game. Dr. Sheridan said himself in those video files that Bell had found. No, he said himself, it was created. He created to be any video game. But the most important thing we know about it is that it needs a host, and not just any host, a human host. And well, Tari is very much so human, as she seems that she is very much so human. She could be a robot and the AI could be inside of it. But, I mean, I don't know, it just really seems more like she's human. And the fact that it needs a host body, to work, or whatever you would call it, I mean, that seems pretty. But I doubt that Tari's human, because like she doesn't really understand it herself. A robot would obviously be programmed to know how to use the Project Blue AI and all that. Whatever. So the whole the project, the AI itself is pretty interesting itself. Then we go to Sophia, who we still know much about her, but we do know one really big major thing which we learned in episode 10, which was the fact that she is the sister of Lucinia. She and Lucinia are related, which is honestly a really, really big connection to make. Especially since it's straight up there, it's canon. They put it right out there for us to hear and see. Well, not see, but hear. Because they would show anything that proves that, we heard it from Sophia herself. We also know that, obviously, as we know, Sophia is very... Well, actually, this is also somewhat... very much so relevant to what we're going to be talking about with Dr. Sheridan. You can probably see where she's going. That she's really advanced. She has advanced knowledge and technology and whatnot. She knew how to hack into Task Force servers and all that. She knows. She knows a lot of stuff. And then we go to the doctor himself, Dr. Sheridan. Most definitely the start of this entire thing. What's been going on. Tari's purpose. Lucinia's disappearance. His own disappearance. And all that. Well, he's not responsible. He's most likely not responsible, at least fully responsible, for Lucinia's disappearance. But you get what I mean. So we know that he's obviously the creator of Project Blue. I mean, he states that himself. I mean, yeah, he could be lying and it could belong to someone else, but chances are he is the creator himself. And we know that he is the creator of Tari, as far as we know. So, and in one of Tari's flashbacks, says he specifically says her name, gonna make the world proud or something along the lines of that. I did watch through the entire 10 episodes again, but honestly, it's been a few days since I did, so I don't really remember everything. Like every single specific detail. Only the stuff that I wrote down, because I have the entire page right here, right next to me, right next to my phone. There is a chance that he is still alive, which goes into the whole thing of Tari waking up in that weird room and whatnot. Now, it's possible that Dr. Sheridan could have survived, got his AI out of there. He could have saved the AI, which would also tie into why Tari has a flashback to the whole incident that caused Lucinia and Dr. Sheridan's disappearance, or at least at the very most Lucinia's. It wasn't Tari herself, but just the AI. Like maybe he got his AI out of there, went to where took shelter in wherever that building was that Tari woke up in, set up a new lab there, found another person to retest his AI on, possibly doing some improvements or something like that on this whole thing, on this whole experiment and whatnot, to make sure what happened was what we saw with Lucinia and him in that video, didn't happen again. But I don't really know what would have happened after that and whatnot. We also know that Project Blue, he specifically made Project Blue not to do what Tari's trying to do now, trying to stop Task Corp and all that, and defeat Lux and stuff. He specifically created Project Blue to impress Lux, because we know that we know from his very own mouth, from his very own words, that he was on the verge of losing his job, and that he was creating Project Blue to impress Lux so he can keep his job. Like a small theory came up with, which obviously is, it's honestly pretty far-fetched. I won't lie. I was stretching when I made this theory. Do I think it's true? Do I think this theory is right? Only a tiny small bit. Like the chances of getting Waluigi in Smash. The chances of Waluigi getting in Smash Ultimate. Like there's definitely a big chance of him getting in, a possible future Smash game, but Smash Ultimate, I mean, it's a little to nothing. It's a little to nothing. And that's how I feel about this theory, being real, being proven right. Him, Dr. Sheridan, possibly being the father of Lucinia and Sophia, maybe. I mean, that has to be the most far-fetched theory I have so far, even more so than Lucinia getting decommissioned by Lux somehow. I mean, well, it's far-fetched, but definitely a lot more believable than that. But I don't really know. And then we got Masa, who's the final one, because, Lamar is obviously a really important character, but we never really got like really big stuff on him yet. Yeah, we do know that he does have something interesting, that an interesting backstory that had him join MD5. Obviously, we don't have anything on what that is or whatnot. We really don't know. We got nothing on him, and there's not really anyone else we can go over who we haven't gone over yet. So Masa's really the only one we have left to talk about. So we know and his had to be the most surprising. I mean, well, maybe not as surprising as, Sophia being the sister of Lucinia. I mean, that was absolutely surprising. I would have never guessed. I would have never thought anything like that. But his was still pretty surprising. His stuff is still pretty surprising. Like how he had past connections to Task Corp, meaning possibly he used to be a meta runner for Task Corp. Most likely, which was very interesting and very surprising to hear. But I guess it makes sense. I mean, he seems to not like Task Corp the most out of the group. Most definitely. No. And he also possibly used to be friends with Belle at some point. Like, they weren't always as cold as we saw that they are to each other. So they could have possibly been friends at some point. And by far the most important point we know so far about him is that he believes that Lux was the reason why Lucinia disappeared. He's responsible for her disappearance, or what he thinks is death. He thinks he's dead, she's dead, Belle thinks she's dead, Lux, everyone thinks she's dead. Except for Tari. I mean, I don't know for a fact if she knows that the person she saw was Lucinia. We know it was Lucinia, but I don't know if she knows. Chances are she's figured it out on her own. Or so like that, I don't know. No, he believes that Lux is the cause of her disappearance. And we obviously know that Belle doesn't believe him with that sort of thing. He doesn't. She doesn't. She thinks it's Tari and all that. You also know that she tried to talk him out of leaving Task Corp and all that, but he went anyways. They probably got into some kind of argument or whatnot. I'd love to go into detail with like other characters like Theo, Ormar, but like there's not really anything. Cause like Theo, he really has no big relevance that would be important going forward past season 1. Because like I'm pretty sure for the majority of season 2, he's going to be in that computer chip that Lux has hostage. With him in it, whatnot. And obviously there was some pretty important stuff, like how Lux was using him as a spot. Like he was using his game to see through Dio's eyes and hear all of MD5's plans, all the group's plans against Task Force, which is how he knew, they were going to infiltrate that tournament and try crash the servers and all that. But that's important. Obviously, that's an important thing to realize. But that's not really going to be useful going forward, considering that he can't really do that if he has Dio hostage within his game or whatever. Or at least a computer chip. Or whatever. You get what I mean. I really hope my little boy is gonna be okay. And I also had some thoughts which were pretty unsure. One's a theory, one's just something that I don't know if it is definitely absolutely true. There's one for Lux, which is that he was somewhat aware of Project Blue, what Dr. Sheridan was doing. I mean, that could easily be debunked itself, though, because I don't already know myself. He says that he never heard of Project Blue or anything like that. But he could easily be lying. We know he's a liar. Or to some extent. We know that he's manipulative and all that. No. And then there's the whole theory that... Well, actually, no, I basically debunked... My theory was, a whole thought I had was that Tari is Lucinia to some extent, but I basically already practically debunked that with my own sort of thing. Was the AI and the Project Blue AI and all that. So yeah, that theory is completely off the table. I debunked my own theory. I am a truth theorist. You're a truth theorist when you come up with a theory, but then you debunk it with the information you gather. Yeah, that's about it. I don't have any other points or anything like that. That obviously it's 0% perfect. I most definitely missed at least one or two or more things. But that's about all the things I gathered, a few theories that I came up with. That sort of thing. So I hope you guys enjoy. I most likely am going to be doing this again for season 2. Updating my stuff and all that. But yeah, that's about it for now. And I've always been bad at outros, so I'm just going to cut it here. Oh god, you really need that. I really need to get better. I need to practice or something.